Okay, we are now online. Welcome to the July committee meeting, everybody. First of all, let's just do some introductions for anybody who doesn't know who we are. So I'm Owen, and I'm the chair of JavaScript New Zealand. Alex, do you want to go next?
I'm Alex. I have the keys to the treasure chest. Go, Samson.
Hi, I'm Samson. I am the secretary for JS Committee. Oh, sorry, maybe I might have put it on there. Hi, I'm Samson. I'm the secretary of the JS Committee.
Cool. Craig?
Hi, I'm Craig. I'm a committee member on the committee.
We got James.
Hey everyone, I'm James, just a committee member.
Jen.
Hello, I'm Jen. I'm also a committee member.
We got Kev.
Hi, I'm Kevin. I'm also a committee member.
And we have Stevie.
I'm Stevie, and the last but no doubt the last committee member.
Awesome. We have apologies from Anna who can't make it today, or Anna, sorry. So we'll break into our agenda as we've laid it out. So the first thing to do is just review last committee meeting, because we had a few action points. And I know from my point of view, I certainly didn't get around to everything I was supposed to get around to. So let me just bring up the minutes from last meeting. 1 second, please hold. Where was that? Okay, so we obviously decided to do a few things around. So we raised a financial update that we couldn't do because Alex wasn't available last. Oh no, you were there last month. Sorry, I'm speaking as if you weren't there, but you were. So you were saying that the annual review will be in relatively soon, and we've received that, so that's cool. So we need to start looking at our AGM. So we'll discuss that in a sec. And membership and renewal will raise again. State of the conference we couldn't talk about last time, so I'd like to raise that at the end of this meeting. And then we had a whole bunch of stuff to do with code of conduct, that we had adding moderators, that we would vote on those moderators. We will put info into our name if we're part of the JS committee or moderator. So I think since then we have decided on using statuses at the moment. And we would have some guidelines for moderators, I think. I think I'm reading the minutes correctly. And then I also was supposed to set up a regular ping into the general channel as to remind people that we're a society and there is a code of conduct. So I haven't set up generally to do regularly, but we have got text for. So somebody want to break off as to where we're at with moderators? Samson?
Yeah, sure. So I got that up. That's one of the action points from last time. Hasn't been any replies to that. I haven't actively pursued kind of any more reminders besides the first one after the code of conduct mention on the Slack channel. I don't know if there's any other channels that we want to push that out to, or what we want to do about that. I noticed also that Alex had raised we kind of doubled up on the issues there. Alex had raised one as well, so I'll probably close one of them, but I'm open to thoughts about how we want to kind of proceed with that.
So we've got a wider committee here than last month. So does anybody have any thoughts on promoting moderators?
Do we know how many we're after?
The other only real question is, can we support them in our current Slack setup?
And also,
sorry.
If we're going to have non-committee member moderators, which is a good idea, we probably should set up a dedicated moderators channel that's invite only, so that there can be discussion of ongoing issues in there.
Yeah. So Yeah, I guess my thoughts were just to push that issue again and see if people will put their names forward to be a moderator. They don't just necessarily get moderator status. Obviously, we have to vote on them. But I think it will be worth doing a few more pushes. I think we've only pushed it once. So in my point of view, maybe a couple more times we should ping a link to that Slack issue, that GitHub issue, and ask people to sign up. Do people agree with that? Okay, that's general.
Yeah, I think it's important that we ask people to volunteer, and then we make sure that the people who are volunteering are people who are people of stature within our community, and then we make sure that we give them the tools to be able to be effective within that as well.
Okay, I don't think we have a clear idea of how many we want. That was the other question that somebody raised. Just that we have more coverage than we have as a committee.
I don't know that we need to worry about setting like a limit right now because we currently have 0 volunteers. I would count our blessings if we had the problem of having too many people say they wanted to moderate. So let's cross that bridge when we get to it. Eh?
Okay, I think I think I'd agree with that. Anybody got any objections to that?
Sorry, not an objection. Just wondering, is any of it automatable? Like I know there's at a most basic level, there's kind of the guys bot that exists. Is any of that stuff worth looking into?
You mean like asking Slackbot to remind people about language and those kind of basic things?
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Sure. I think we probably can do those things. I think they'd be on top is my only thought. Like the base level is some people to be around to pick up on bad behavior. Okay, so I think let's just turn that into an action point of let's push out that message over the next 2 weeks a couple of times, so a couple of times a week. And between myself and Samson, I'm sure we can work together and get those messages out. So is everybody okay with that? Cool. Okay, we'll make that so, and then we'll work out how good the uptake is by next month, and we'll revisit it. So let's do. Sorry, let's go back to my my agenda. So the next point is annual return and financials. Alex, do you want to jump in?
Yeah. So the accountant's given us our financial return, annual financial return for the year. I was just about to start talking about it, and then I realized that I was looking at last year's one. So just opening up this year's one. Do we want to talk about numbers since it's in draft form, or should we talk about it when it's finalized?
Let's talk about when it's finalized so we can give people actual numbers. I think it's the best option.
Okay. In that case, I'll be passing this around via email, or we can just talk about it in the Slack channel in the committee channel to have final sign-off. I think we have to have the quorum say yay to this.
I believe that it actually has to be voted okay by the AGM, but I might be wrong. That's certainly what I've had happen in other societies. It's something we could probably check the rules for, but I've certainly experienced both the President's report and the financial statement needing to be accepted by the AGM and other societies. Yeah,
I believe that's correct. We need to present the annual report to the AGM. That's kind of the point of the AGM coming together, and they sign that off, as well as any other action points. But the main action point is actually signing off the annual report.
Okay, so in that sense, we publish the draft into the Slack channel once we're happy with it?
Yeah, once we're happy with it, we can publish the draft.
Okay, there's a few changes that I've sent back to Dale already, stating that the committee members are incorrect and we need to change the address, which I think is another point on this agenda. But so far, I've gone through it. It looks good. I asked Jen to go through it to make sure that it matched up with the conference numbers that are floating around in her head, and she said it looks good. So yeah, I'm happy for this to go forward into the public channel and for us to trigger the AGM countdown.
Okay, so let's bring up a calendar very quickly. What date is 30 days from Monday? See if Google will tell me very quickly. So we're looking at like August 10th-ish, but we should probably make it a weekend, I presume. So what I'll do is I'll float around a few dates using a doodle for around about August the 12th, 13th-ish. And we'll aim for the AGM. I guess no, that's all right, isn't it? So, sorry, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. We need nominations for new committee members and then 30 days, or?
We can just announce that nominations are open and then have 30 days for that nominations process, I believe.
Okay. So we need to open up nominations and have them open for 30 days before the committee. Okay. So we will announce that the AGM is around about the 12th or 13th, and put up an issue, much like, are we agreed that we do it the same way as we did last year? Does anybody have any objections to last year's format?
I think the way that we gathered nominations last year worked perfectly fine. We might need to revisit voting again for like the third time now. We'll get it right eventually. But I think the nominations process was okay, and we can talk about the voting a bit closer to the date.
Okay. Okay, so action points. Set the AGM date through a doodle with us originally, and then we'll announce it. We'll get the nominations in at that point. I'm pretty sure everybody's aware that we pretty much open up all the committee member positions for nomination. You're welcome to nominate yourself, but somebody has to second you. And then we'll do a vote on those at the AGM. We'll be presenting our annual report. I'll put together a statement as chair's statement to lead into that annual report. But is there anything else we need to do for the AGM that anybody can think of?
I need to publish the annual report on a GitHub repo. I think I did the same last year.
Yes. Yes, okay. Any other action points that we need to do for the AGM? No, so the other one I have is we need to change the society's address. So we all comfortable, sorry, we all just need to quickly vote that we're all happy for the address to change to Alex's home address. Everybody in favor, please raise their hands. Okay, I think that's unanimous. I can't see James's hand, but I presume he was voting. Okay, cool. All right, and then we'll go through and publish the AGM with the new address and everything else. Is that all right? I'll take the general silence as being approval. Okay, so we've done 1 to 4 of the agenda. Item number 5, a JS Conference 2018 update. Stevie, you wanted to take this on last time, and there weren't enough people around.
Yeah, I guess so. I've put my hand up for it, and I will be with the hopeful committee saying yes, running the next JavaScript New Zealand conference in Auckland, New Zealand, which is really great. I've got a bunch of backing from my work in Auckland, and have also got Jen on board, which I think is key to us being able to run that effectively. So I haven't gone through the formal nomination process or anything like that, but here we are. I'm happy to run it. So hopefully you guys will put up your hands and say, yes, that's fine.
And I'm just going to jump in here to mention more formally that we never received any applications through the actual nomination, through the volunteering process. I have had some informal discussions with people, and I'm really happy that Stevie has stepped forwards. It was always my goal that we would rotate around between cities, and I would certainly put in my recommendation that the committee accept him to go ahead and run the conference for next year.
What's the breakdown looking like at the moment? You say Jen's involved. What's everybody's involvement level at the moment? Have you made an agreement around it?
So thus far, in terms of who's actually running it, it's myself, one of my members of my staff, and plus Jen at a very base level. Once we get a venue on board, I imagine that I can then push that out to further people in the business. But at this point, I've got myself plus one other person quite involved. And then the thing which I was involved or most worried about, Jen has kindly decided, I don't know if she's decided or just said that she'd look after it, but she's offered to look after the financial funds for people who need financial assistance, which is one of the things which I was really worried about actually doing myself. So at this stage, it's 2 of us full-time, quote unquote, plus Jen for financial assistance from that fund. So, and then as I assume once we get the ball rolling a bit more, which is getting a fund in place, getting a major sponsor in place, getting those things under control, we'll be able to then go, okay, yes, we're actually running this. This is actually happening. Let's get some more people involved in those finer details.
I will just briefly mention that I know that there has been some discussion in the Slack on the Hash Auckland JS channel, and there were some people that were keen to chip in there. So I do think you'll have some people that might be keen to step forwards. Yeah,
so I've talked to those people, especially Don, who runs the Spiral JavaScript Academy, EDA and Spiral Dev Academy, sorry, in Auckland. He's really keen to help us out in any way he can, but I haven't pinged out those details and how we'll actually split that and work that out. But I know that he's keen to help. So there's definitely more than me plus my workmate involved or willing to be involved at the moment, which gives me the backing to go, yes, let's do it.
That's excellent. Really happy for you to step up. Thanks very much, Stevie. I do have just one more quick question. I know there were a group of people who were looking to run it in Auckland that had trouble with the format in some way, shape, or form. Have we addressed those issues at all, or are we going to run it very closely to the previous one?
So I did talk to, so that's the Inspiral Dev Academy, Don, and those sorts of, that's that group there who had the problems with that format. I have talked to them about their issues with the format and nothing seriously in depth about their problems, but I don't see an issue. So I want us to be running it the same way, and that's what my my proposal with this is, to run it in the same format that we had last year, including the 2 streams, including the middles thing. The only thing which, and I'm not going to say this immediately, but there's some issues with the way which the workshops were run last year, which I've got some discussions with. So we'll wait and see on those, but I still see it being a 2-day format with multiple speech tracks and the core tenets, which Jen outlined in her document, being kept the same that we are right now, with a few things maybe changing around in the format of some of the workshops and those sorts of things. But at this stage, without any backers or sponsors or a place to have it, it's going to be a 2-day format, and it's going to be great. So that's where we're at right now.
Perfect. You certainly have my faith. Any other questions from any of the other committee members? Okay, we should take a vote then. Are we all in favour of of allowing Stevie and co to run an Auckland JS Conf this time or next year at some point? All raise your hands.
Hell yeah.
Awesome, that's unanimous. Stevie, go forth and conquer. Thank you very much for taking that. It's great to know that we're planning putting something together for 2018. Really, really cool. Jen, do you want to talk about password management?
Yeah, as we'll be talking about shortly, James has been making some great improvements to the website, and because he's one of the latter additions to the committee, I don't believe that he has access, and nor do quite a few of the new committee members have access to the shared LastPass folder, just simply because we've maxed out the number of accounts there, which is not ideal because having to go into we're already asking people to volunteer their time and effort to work on things, and then having to go through extra hoops to get the thing that you need to do the thing is not ideal. I think we can all agree. So I think we settled on the solution that we did purely for practicality, and also it was free. I have looked today briefly at what paid solutions LastPass offers. Unfortunately, they are a little bit on the cost prohibitive side. There's not really you're a charity tier, or you're a society kind of a tier. It's very much you're a business. If you want to pay for stuff, that's great, but it's going to be, I think it's $2 a head a month, which is not insubstantial. So yeah, I don't know if anybody has any bright ideas of what else we could be doing to manage passwords sustainably. Oh, and I did look at what one password, whatever, that other one, and same deal, in fact more expensive. So anybody got any bright ideas?
With OnePass, you can just check the library on Dropbox. As long as people don't edit it at the same time, it works pretty well.
I was wondering whether, so like if you got a couple of bucks a month for all of us, that adds up, but how many other people need access? Like I know I've asked, there's a few things that I would like access to just in regards to website and Stripe and a bunch of other things. But there may be some of us who just don't need access to it. So would we also have to pay for them as well?
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess my original thinking was we would want everybody that was on the committee to have access, given that at any time the rest of us could be having lovely vacations in the sunshine, and there might be one person left who needs the Slack administrator account access or whatever. But you're right, that's probably not super likely. Yeah, maybe we can have a subset. I don't know with the existing account how easy, I'm not sure how easy it is to rotate people out of the current account.
You should just be able to drop them off the folder. We could have a master account that people could log into if they don't have the general access.
We just have to rotate that master password every year after each AGM. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, sure.
Honestly, I think
wasn't even going that far.
If we have, we need a quorum to be able to decide things. If we've got a quorum amount of members who've got access to that, that should allow us to be able to get into it. We haven't had huge issues thus far with 2 or 3 people having access. And if we have 4 or 5, I think that we've got a broad enough subset of people who are online most of our lives, despite us saying that we're not, that it should be okay. If there's, 6 out of 10 have got access and we can divvy it out, which might be an easier way for us to offset that cost.
So my only other thought is there are 9 of us at $2 a month per person. That's call it $240 per year. Yeah. How prohibitive is that, Alex?
It's about half the price of the accountant.
If that's the cost, let's make the chairman in charge of it, and he can set a shitty password and we can all guess it. And if anyone like tries to steal our money, they can't, because we're using a really good payment account called Stripe, which doesn't allow fraud. So we can just pass the buck. Right? That's fine. I'm okay with that.
I'm pretty sure we're supposed to be IT people, aren't we? Supposed to really hate sharing passwords and stuff.
It wouldn't be much of an issue if we were having regular annual payments from our members, but since we've all dropped the ball on that, it's the cash flow is not that great.
Yeah, but we don't want to be spending our money on things which we don't need to. I'd rather, like, $240 is a couple of robots, right? Like, I'd rather us spend our money on robots than on password managers. And honestly, I think in our case, until we get to a point where we're making thousands of dollars a year, a shared password between people of import in our community is not a terrible thing. There's a definite trade-off there, and we've got to work out where that is.
Okay, should we vote on the shared password?
Well, oh yeah, the shared password. So just to be clear, what we're suggesting is that, well, actually, what we can do is still keep everything in LastPass, right, and just allow access to another LastPass user that we've set up that we all have the password details for. Is that what we're suggesting?
Yeah. And you could also share that through LastPass, but through personal accounts.
That actually is a bit hacky, but probably does the job. The one fly in that ointment is, does anybody on the committee currently have administrator access to the shared JavaScript NZ password account on LastPass?
Who owns it?
Well, I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if Blair still owns it.
I suspect it's Blair. Yeah. So we can, email him and ask him to transfer that if he's got some time. Yeah, let's take this offline and go from there.
I think, Jen, the best thing for us to do is to put into our constitution that no one will take advantage of that, and then let's trust people, because we're New Zealanders and we're the JavaScript Society, and the best thing for us to do is to trust that we are going to be okay.
I'm not suggesting that anybody would abuse it. I think that's totally fine. It's just the practicalities of making that a reality.
Okay. Yeah, Jen, can I put you in accountable for that?
Yeah, sure thing.
Awesome, thank you. Website update, James.
Cool. So there's been a pull request in there for probably 2 or 3 months about the Stripe integration. There's a couple of comments back when I first did it that I have addressed in the last week, mainly around making it obvious what the deal was with cancelling. I've had no comments on actual implementation itself, so I'm assuming it's okay. But I have made, in order to actually get it live, I've made our website HTTPS only. And so far I've had no kickback on that. Our Stripe account has been set up. I've got access to that, and so does the committee, the committee address itself. So I'm quite keen to get that live and test it. If everyone's okay, I'd like to get up tomorrow and do a quick run through to make sure that at least I can sign up and have things come out of my credit card. If it doesn't work for any reason, I can always roll back to a previous version. But any thoughts on getting the Stripe subscription stuff integrated?
Just make sure that Alex is aware when those payments might come in, because we just need to make sure that they get coded or the right way.
Okay. So what do you need to know for that, Alex?
Just what you just told me. Perfect.
Good.
So walk me through the integration just very quickly. I sign up to become a member and then I just get billed?
Pretty much. And then in the next year, so okay, yeah, so you sign up, you put there's your details, your details, and then the next step is your credit card details, which is just through Stripe. Once that is, you'll have whatever you've chosen, whether it's a student or an all membership, the price will come off your credit card and go into our Stripe account, and then in 12 months time it'll come off again. You get an email that has the details. It's like, hey, thanks, by the way, here's a link that you can cancel via. and so they can at any time cancel. They won't get refunded. And actually, I'm going to make a note to make that a bit more clear. Once the $25 comes off, there's no like partial payments that come back off into our into their account.
Okay, so where are we keeping the source of truth for our list of members? Will it be in Stripe, or should I be coding it to their names in Xero and keeping it in Xero?
So we currently, so if you sign up for a membership, you're automatically added as a member in Keystone, which is in the website. But there's no payment information against that. So there's that, which is people who have requested to sign up from now, but they have no correlation with Stripe. But as soon as people start paying, once this goes live, then they'll be in Stripe and in Keystone. But for the people that are already in Keystone, and that's only from the last 12 months, say, maybe 9 months that they're in Keystone. So there's kind of this mismatch of where our current members are versus the members that have signed up since some changes to the website about 9 months ago versus Stripe, which will go live shortly. So at the moment, there's no master.
Okay. Would it help if I print you out a list of all of the members in Xero?
Yeah, that would be good. Because I can create accounts of them in Keystone, so that we have at least that as the point of truth, and then I figured a way to get the details from making sure that we know to get those people to go through the sign up form again.
Yeah, we
sure
could just bulk email them.
Yeah.
Eventually, we should be ending up with people who are paying members of our society are paying, and Stripe has them as paying. So
yeah, can we do discount codes in Stripe so that we can send existing members to Stripe to sign up for a free account, so that they become, and then it'll be billed normally from then on?
Not right now. Oh, and you'll need to open a pull request or a feature request against the javascript.org.nz, and we'll have to build it. But at the moment, we're literally, you need to pay to be a member, and that's it. If I understand James's code correctly, but
yeah, there's no Stripe.
To be honest, there's not going to be that many people that paid up within the last year.
Yep.
It's possibly about 12.
Yeah, because those I'm quite. Well, then again, maybe we just say to everybody, "Hey, we'd like you to sign up as a member again."
To be honest, when I signed up, it was for a year, and I think that anyone who has been a member a year or less, we give a free pass until next time, and everyone else has been a member a year or more, like we've got our money out of it, or we haven't, and we can decide whether or not we're going to sign up again. But as Alex says, there's about 12 people, and they get the free run. But I've paid $25 over the last 2 years, and it's clearly, well, clear is not the right word. It's honestly not enough. So there's a decision to be made there for some of us.
Yeah, totally. I'm happy to send out an email to people who've been a member for longer than a year. But we probably do need discount codes. There are a few people who we want to support to stay members. We want to, like, there is the whole, if paying a fee would be unduly difficult to you, we want you to contact us. If we don't have a way of entering those into the system in some way, shape, or form.
I can put that in if we want that. Is it going to be like, here's a code, you have to know the code, or is it literally a third option to the drop down, which just enters you into our system, which is $0?
What does Stripe support?
Does Stripe support $0? Maybe. Not sure.
I think again.
Sorry. Yeah. The crux of it is, right, that those people that are, the 12 or so people that have paid this year, we don't want to ask them to pay again immediately because they've paid soon.
Yeah.
But we also do want them to be handled the same, in that they should be rebilled.
Yes.
That's the key thing. But yeah, I'm not sure that Stripe, because Stripe is not membership, Stripe is payment solution,
Yes.
would actually support a zero payment thing. So I think we're just going to have to accept that we could over-engineer our way out of this, but it's only 12 people. We're already getting rid of a bunch of the manual process. We keep a list of those 12 people, and when their membership expires, at that point we ask them to go through the process and sign up.
Sounds good. Yeah, so my only other concern is how we handle people who, like we've said before, that we'd, we want to support people who can't pay the money to still become members. Do we have a process for that? That's my only question.
I feel like that should be a pull request in itself, where we can talk about this with a decent amount of time.
Yeah, okay. I'm happy for it to go live without handling those yet. But I just want it to be us to be aware.
And basically, right now, you being a member is us saying that you're a member, right? So if somebody emailed us and said, I do want the financial hardship option, please, then we can just email back and say, sure.
You're a member. No, fine. Okay. And Alex, can you maybe just, are we using the zero list as the list of members?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll grab a list of members who've been a member for more than a year, and I'll draft up an email that we will send around to them once this goes live.
Cool. I was hoping that you'd say that you'd do that, because otherwise I'll be fumbling around in Xero trying to find how to export a list of users.
Yeah, I should be able to do that, I think.
Also, for what it's worth about the price, the Designers Institute Society costs $475 a year to be an individual member. JavaScript's $25.
Yeah, we're not quibbling over the bank.
Yeah, let's not talk about that, because we're cheap, but we're well worth it.
Yeah, no. I think we're reasonably priced. We should go for quantity, though.
Yeah. Okay. So all those in favor of James just taking the Stripe stuff live?
Cool. So just so everyone knows, I'll put it live tomorrow morning, because I've got about an hour commute, which I can go through and run through a test. If there's any problems, I will roll back and I will put it on the committee channel.
Cool. Thank you very much, James. Much appreciated.
No worries.
Alex, GST return.
All right. So yeah, good news is the last. $208 we get back from the government. There's a whole bunch of warnings if you log into IRD, because there was due to the changeover from Inspiral to Account Tech, our GST return was lapsed, but since we had accountants, it wasn't really our fault for not filing it. So he's managed to fix up all of the late fees and stuff like that. So he assures me that we don't have to do anything about the notices and warnings in there. But he also told me that we get $208 back.
Awesome, but we have an income tax bill, is that correct?
Well, we'll find out once we file the annual return. But if everyone agrees that it's okay, it doesn't look like we have a huge amount of tax to pay.
Cool.
I think there was around 10K left in the accounts at the end of the financial year.
Okay, that's pretty good, and that's basically funds for the next conference. Really, I think we've all agreed that's where that money should be directed.
Yeah, I think there was about 5K in the JavaScript conference fund. The rest was split between NodeBots and Wellington JavaScript and membership fees.
Cool. Yeah, so we obviously have an accountant bill to pay as well, don't we?
Yes. Last year's accountant bill. The year before was paid like a few months back, but that was due to the Inspiral lapse.
Yes. Okay. Cool. Well, there's nothing we have to vote on now. We're getting money, so that's good. I don't have any other issues. Does anybody else have anything they particularly want to raise for the committee this month?
I just noticed on the issues, the GitHub issues. Pull requests. There was a couple outstanding for the last couple of notes that I wrote for these things. Is it okay? Are people okay if I just merge those in? Or?
I have actually pulled them in. So
cool. Thank you.
Yeah. So they should be.
Is there, oh, sorry. Is there a process for that? Like, should I be pinging somebody about that, or just merge them in myself, or?
I don't think we have a process. It's probably best that you don't merge them yourself, so that you've seen that somebody else has read them. So I'll apologize for not having merged them in before now. I only just saw them before this meeting.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I just wanted to.
But yeah, that's probably just my fault. I think we're doing okay.
The only thing from me, extraterritorial from everything else, is if anybody is interested or would like to help with the conference in Auckland, please do contact me. I'll put my email address for work, which I respond to more readily than my stevie.co.nz one, up in the channel immediately after this. And if you've got any questions, or you want to yell at somebody or tell me what was crap last year and why we should be better, we're all ears until about January next year, at which point we'll ignore you and run the conference how we see fit. So you've got about, 6 months to make a difference. So please make a difference.
Oh, I'll bring the conference up with the NodeBots team. I'm sure that if you want us there in a workshop, we can probably put something together.
We do want you there in a workshop, but we're not sure what terms the workshop will take, or what terms the conference will take, or if there will be a conference. So
cool.
Let's take a couple of months and we'll work it out from there. But like Alex says, those sort of things, if you've got something which you think is important but may not be a speech, please do let us know. Get in contact with us. We want it to be open and inclusive, and we want to do everything, but we can't. So we'll do the best that we can with the most that we've got. So things like no bots are probably going to be there. And if you've got something better than no bots, just go ahead and let us know.
Cool. On the other side, Stevie, if you need help with something, do make sure you yell to the rest of the committee. I'm sure while we might not all put our hands up and say we've got loads of time, we're more than welcome to help people out as they need it. But we really appreciate you taking a point on that.
I have created a hashtag conference in the JavaScript New Zealand Slack just now. So if you guys want to discuss everything or anything, please do it in there.
Awesome. Okay, does anybody else have any other things that they'd like to raise? In that case, we'll call it a committee meeting. Thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening. We'll get together at the AGM, I guess, next. Have a good one, everybody.
Cool, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Good night, guys. Have a good night.